Hi guys, this is Unit 2, Lesson 6, subtracting whole and decimal numbers. And some of these subtraction problems are going to require us to ungroup or borrow from other place values in order to do that subtraction, like these two example problems with whole number subtraction. If we look at our ones place where we would start the subtraction, we don't have enough here to subtract 9, so we would have to come over and ungroup this tens place or borrow from the tens place. Same thing here with these decimal numbers, subtracting with decimal numbers. It's pretty much the exact same way as borrowing or ungrouping with whole numbers. We don't have anything in our ones, in our tenths or hundredths place to subtract from. So we would have to come over and ungroup this ones place to bring over. We'll work some example problems and I'll show you what I mean by that. This is copy each exercise, then subtract. So remember, just like in addition, with subtraction, we want to write these problems vertically so we can line up place values, and when we're doing decimal subtraction, we'll line up decimals, which will automatically line up the place values for us. So 3,000 minus 348. If we look here, we don't have anything to subtract 8 from, so we're going to have to come over all the way to our thousands place. Oops, I wrote 3,000, that's actually 6,000. So I come over to my thousandths place, and I'm going to have to ungroup this. I'm going to borrow. So we'll come over here, make this a 10. I have to continue this ungrouping all the way down to the ones place in order to be able to subtract. So I'm just going to the process of borrowing from each place value. Now I have 10 minus 8. So now I can subtract. 9 minus 4 gives me 5. 9 minus 3 gives me 6. And then the thousandths place is just 5. There's nothing being subtracted. So our answer would be 5,652. And this next one is another whole number subtraction problem. We have 7,364 minus 937. So, similar to the first one, we don't have enough here in our ones place in 7,364 to be able to subtract the 7. So we'll come over to the tens place. We're just going to borrow 1 there, which we take 1 out from 6, leaves us with 5, and we bring that 10 that we borrowed over to our ones place. So now 14 minus 7 is 7. 5 minus 3 is 2. 3 minus 9 is again, I cannot do that. I can't take 9 from 3, so I have to come over to the thousandths place and borrow. That gives us 13 minus 9, and then 6 minus nothing, giving us 6,427. Okay, number 3. We have one more whole number, for example. I'm actually going to skip this one and come down to a couple of the decimal problems, and after we work these first 2 decimal subtraction problems, I'll pause the video and have you guys work number 3 and 6 on your own. So come down here to number 4, 720, I said that wrong, 720 and 95 hundredths minus 286 . Sorry guys, I'm still getting the hang of how to use this. And a little bit here, just bear with me. Minus 286 and 4/10. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a placeholder 0 there. I've got my decimals lined up so that lets me know that my place values are aligned correctly. Now I can go ahead and start subtracting 5 minus 0, 9 minus 4. I'm going to bring down that decimal. So here we run into a situation where we're going to have to borrow. I don't have anything to subtract 6 from. So I'm going to come over into my tens place, borrow 1 from there. So now I have 10 minus 6. Come over here, 1 minus 8. I cannot do that. Come to my hundreds place and borrow, bringing 100 over into my tens place. So 11 minus 8 gives me 3. 6 minus 2 is 4 for an answer of 434 and 55 hundredths. Okay, we'll do one more example problem here, and then I'll pause and have you guys work out number 3 and number 6. Okay, we have 18,652. Minus, okay, 4 and 31 hundredths. So 4 is the ones place, so I need to come all the way over to my ones and align those. And 31 hundredths. Okay, so just to help me visualize this a little better, I'm going to go ahead and put a decimal here and put some placeholder zeros after my decimal. Okay, so now we're ready to start. Since I do not have anything here, I can't subtract. I'm going to have to come over to my ones place, borrow 1 there, go over to my tenths, to borrow again. 9. Now we have enough to be able to subtract 2 minus 1, 9. 9 minus 3, 1 minus 4. I cannot do that. I'm going to have to borrow here. Bring this over. 11 minus 4, 7, and I've already forgotten to bring down my decimal. Like I said in the previous video, sometimes it's easier so you don't forget to go ahead and bring that decimal down before you start either adding or subtracting. Okay, so now back over here, 4, nothing. So I'll just bring the rest of these down. Okay, giving us an answer of 18,647 and 69 hundredths. So I'm going to pause this and have you guys work out number 3 and 6 on your own. We'll see you back next time. Alrighty, welcome back, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at those problems that you worked out. Number 3, 50,821 minus 3,617. So I went ahead and worked that out here to get a total of 47,204, which required me to borrow from my tens place here and bring a 1 over, and then also when I got over to my thousands place, I had to borrow from my 10,000s to get here. Number 6, 350 and 6/10 minus 176 and 54 hundredths required me to borrow 3 times. I had to borrow from my tenths place in order to begin, and I also had to come over and borrow from my ones, tens, in order to get my answer of 174 and 6/100. Okay, now we're going to take a look at a couple of word problems here. That's going to involve subtraction. So, number 7. Ahmed had a piece of rope that was 7 1/1400 meters long. He cut off 9/100 meter to practice making knots. What was the length of the rope after the cut? So if he removed a portion, that lets us know that we're going to need to do subtraction in order to get our answer. So we'll start with what he had to begin with, 7 1400ths meters, and he removed 900ths meters. Okay, once we write this down vertically, lining up our place values, decimals, we see that in the hundredths place we're going to have to borrow. So we'll come over here and ungroup that. So now we can 14 minus 9 leaves me with 5, 0 minus 0. Bring down my decimal. Now 7 minus 0. Leaving us with 7 5/100ths. Remember, this was a measurement of the length of the rope, so we need to include our unit, which was meters. Number 8 here. Natasha has a large collection of books. The thickest book measures 4 9/10 centimeters. The thinnest book measures 1 8/10 centimeters. What is the difference in thicknesses of those two books? So difference, that is another way of saying subtract. We're finding the difference in these two. So start with the larger of 2, 4 and 9/10 centimeters minus 1 and 8/10 centimeters. This one, written it vertically, lined up our decimals, that's our place values in the line. We're not going to have to borrow this one or do any ungrouping. So 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down my decimal. 4 minus 1 is 3 1/10 centimeters. Abbreviation for centimeters, guys, is just cm. Okay, take a look at one more practice problem. Number 9, Yoshi saved $1,238.46 for a vacation in Mexico. While in Mexico, she spent $975. What amount of money did Yoshi not spend? So we're going to see what Yoshi would have left over. We're going to start 1,238 and 4600ths minus 975. I'm going to go ahead and put in some placeholder zeros here. Alrighty, so not going to have to do any borrowing or ungrouping just yet. Bring down my decimal. Minus 5. 3 minus 7. We cannot do that. We're going to have to come over to the next place and borrow. Now we're ready. 13 minus 7. 1 minus 9. We're going to have to borrow again. We have 11 minus 9. 2, and that is it. So Yoshi would have left over or not spent $263.46. So include our units there, which is dollars. Alrighty, guys, that does it for today. We'll see you in class. Bye.